If you've been putting off an Etsy shop because you think every good teacher printable has already been done, I want you to look at these. I found 7 teacher printables that Etsy is showing people are buying right now. And several of these listings are only around a month old. And there's something really interesting happening here. On some of these listings, Etsy is literally saying people have purchased them within the last 24 hours. And this is while third-party Etsy research tools are showing 0 monthly sales. So what this means is if you're relying on one research tool or one research number or one piece of data to decide whether a product idea is worth going into, then you could potentially be missing really amazing opportunities that are happening right in front of your eyes. Now, I'm going to show you all 7, the signals I'm looking at, and stay for number 7 because it demonstrates one of the best ways I've found to take on an extremely broad teacher product and give it a much more specific angle. So let's jump in, shall we? So first is something incredibly simple, an all about me worksheet. Let's look at what Etsy itself is showing us right now. This listing has a bestseller badge. It's priced at just $1.25, but Etsy says 9 people have bought it in the last 24 hours. Now, using the Etsy research tool Listing View, it's showing that this listing is around 1 month old with 88 favorites, yet monthly sales are currently showing as 0, which we now know to be absolutely untrue because Etsy is telling us how many people have bought it in those last 24 hours. And that's exactly why I wouldn't automatically dismiss a product because one third-party tool isn't displaying sales yet. In this case, Etsy is giving us a much more immediate signal here that people are buying it today. And this is a tiny product, just 1 page. And the thing is, with something like this, you could create variations for preschool, kindergarten, nursery, older children, homeschool children, summer camp, or even a birthday version. So moving on, we have classroom decorative posters. Now, this particular listing has an Etsy's pick. Etsy says 4 people have bought it in the last 24 hours, and the research data is estimating 13 monthly sales with around $150 plus in monthly revenue. It's also built up over 2,000 favorites. So the opportunity here isn't simply to make motivational posters. We'd want to look at the visual direction. We can see they're playful, colorful, and designed specifically for a classroom. But you could take this idea further with things such as reading posters, posters for emotional well-being, even Christian classroom posters, or preschool affirmation posters, going to English posters, history posters, geography posters. I think you get my drift because that specificity is where things are going to get a lot more interesting for us. And then we're peeling back those layers and tapping into niches and sub-niches that are less competitive. Moving on to number 3 on our list, we have Meet the Teacher Canva templates. And this listing I came across is particularly interesting because Etsy says that 5 people have bought it in the last 24 hours. And when looking at the listing view research data, it's telling us that it's estimating about 45 monthly sales with around $269 plus in monthly revenue. And this listing's only 4 months old. And again, this is basically just a 1-page editable template. And off the top of my head, you could make versions for, again, preschool teachers, primary school, middle school, school counselors, teaching assistants, librarians, speech therapists, or even homeschool co-ops. Next up, we are looking at these editable classroom banners. This particular listing caught my attention immediately because it's showing a bestseller badge, and Etsy says 9 people have bought this in the last 24 hours. And this listing is only 1 month old, which is insane. Etsy research tool Listing View is estimating around 48 monthly sales with approximately 190 plus monthly revenue. And that's exactly the kind of listing I would want to investigate further because it's recent, it's getting attention, people are buying it now, and the underlying product is extremely repeatable. We could create them for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, banners that include the teacher's name, even banners for the school library or a reading corner, the science room. You could go into themes such as a retro themed banner, boho themed, pastel themed. You could create a substantial collection around one singular Canva banner layout. Now, product idea number 5 is another brilliantly simple product. printable first day teacher gift tags. Now with this listing, Etsy says 3 people have bought this in the last 24 hours and it also has a bestseller badge. Now here's another really good example of why I like looking at several validation signals. Research tool Listing View is currently showing 0 monthly sales, while Etsy is telling us people have bought this today. We can also see that there's an estimated $800+ in revenue and a conversion rate of over 7%, which is amazing. So don't disregard those third-party Etsy research tools because they are really good for pulling up additional data. Just don't fully rely on them for really recent products that have just been uploaded. We want to look directly at Etsy for that validation. So basically use them together, pull bits from the tools and pull other bits from Etsy too. And just think about how easy this product is to multiply. We could have first day of school, Christmas, teacher appreciation, end of year, Valentine's Day. Basically, one tiny tag format could generate a huge number of listings really, really easily. So product number 6 is quite a niche product. It is classroom posters, but the niche angle of these classroom posters is where it gets really interesting. So this is a neurodivergent inclusive classroom poster bundle. As we can see, Etsy says that 2 people have bought it within the last 24 hours. It's around 1 month old, has already picked up 41 favorites, and the tracker is showing a 4.7% conversion rate. And again, monthly sales haven't even appeared on this research panel as yet. And what I like here is the positioning, because instead of simply creating classroom posters, the seller has created inclusive classroom decor around belonging, emotional safety, different voices and different ways of thinking. And that makes a much clearer reason for a specific teacher to choose this set over others which are more generic. And building on this, you could explore similar focus angles such as ADHD friendly classroom posters, sensory needs type posters, emotional regulation style posters. So lots of potential with that digital product category. And finally, number 7. And again, this is a pretty niche down version. It's math in real life posters. So basically maths posters. But this is exactly what I mean when I talk about taking a broad product such as posters, classroom posters, and finding that unique angle. Because there are thousands of classroom posters, so many to choose from. But this particular seller has created a set showing children where maths appear in actual careers. For example, as an architect, or as a fashion designer, or as a marine biologist. It's a really interesting angle, and it's just showing how that if you can think a bit deeper and think outside the box, you can tap into a digital product idea that has virtually no competition. And Etsy is backing us up for us because it says 6 people have bought this listing in the last 24 hours. And this listing is only 1 month old. It has a bestseller badge already, and Listing View has already estimated 7 monthly sales. But remember that Listing View is behind the curve right here. Now, this is the type of idea I would pay attention to because it combines education, classroom decor, and a very specific concept. And being specific and digging a little deeper is where I have found my most success. So to recap, when I am researching products like these, I'm never looking at just one number in isolation. I'm looking for a combination of signals, such as, is Etsy saying people have bought this recently? Does it have a popular now, a bestseller badge, or an Etsy's pick indicator? How old is the listing? Are people favoriting it? And does the concept have room for variations and to grow and expand? Also things such as, can I understand exactly who the buyer is? Because that's very important. And basically, can I turn this one product into a larger product family or even a bundle? And then after I've asked myself those questions, I will use Etsy research tools. At the moment, I'm using Listing View, but I do also use Everbee. I use Sales Samurai. If you've seen any of my previous videos, I do love my research tools. And I just think they're a really great way of expanding on that data that you might not immediately be able to see on Etsy, even though Etsy is definitely the first place I go. But it all just allows me to build a clearer picture and make a more defined and definitive decision on what products to start to create. But the interesting thing here is that some of these listings are extremely young, only a month old. And that's a positive thing to remember, because that tells us that new products can still gain traction when the product, the timing, the positioning, and the buyer demand all line up. So if your biggest problem is seeing all these ideas and wondering what teacher product should I actually create, then I have made you a free Teacher Digital Product Matchmaker. This is going to help you narrow down product ideas based on your experience, what you enjoy creating, and the type of customer that you want to sell to. Leave the comment teacher below and I will send that out to you. So with that matchmaker, instead of walking away with a huge list of random ideas, you can start narrowing down that product direction in a way that makes sense for you. And even if you're not a teacher and you are just looking to sell digital products online, but choosing the right niche is the part that always keeps holding you up, then that's exactly what I help you to work through in the niche method. It's my $17 course for helping you narrow down your niche, identify the kind of products you want to build around, and create a much clearer direction for your digital product business. And I'll link that below too. And if you want more videos like this where I actually dig into Etsy and show you the products, the trends and the signals I'm finding, then do subscribe, because I do a lot of these videos. Remember to comment teacher down below, and until next time, all the very best.